But tensions do rise back in Russia as small pockets of protests break out.
Everybody who is saying, oh, we are afraid of a third world war, well, I have a surprise for you. It already started.
He's already facing this humiliation on the battlefield. Because he honestly thought that he'll take Ukraine in 100 hours, or what did he say, 2-3 days, my tanks will be in Kyiv.
It seems these Russian troops never knew what hit them. Their uniforms were scattered everywhere, along with weapons and ammunition. Knocking out this position allowed Ukrainian forces to advance and take back the nearby village of Malorohan, where the Babkov family was enjoying their new freedom on the first day after Russian soldiers were kicked out.
The head of our administration came and said, we think we will be giving away guns. And I said, okay, sign me in for 20. And so then my fellow politicians and I, we went to get the guns. And it was so surreal, you cannot even imagine.
At first, we were scared, really scared. But now we are ready to fight. And fight like hell.
To be honest, whether we will be able to survive depends on this. I have 100% confidence in our people and in our armed forces, but unfortunately, I don't have the confidence that we will be receiving everything we need.
That. Shit. This is flour, by the way. It looks quite dodgy, doesn't it? Okay, let's get the keys on the
The next day when we went down for breakfast, we had our breakfast, had our coffee and set out on the road. This was the long journey to our next destination. And I saw a completely different side to Ukraine on that journey. I didn't do any driving. Becky did most of the driving and Jeanette did some in between. We immediately went for some fuel, filled the van up and got ourselves some snacks for the road and some drinks. And this country is beautiful. I've never seen so much beautiful countryside in my life. I thought Germany was gorgeous, but Ukraine was so natural. It was so natural, and you could take pictures all day long of the scenery. There's so much out there that I would love to explore. I liked all the old cars. I liked all the patriotism. There was lots of Russian bashing banners and slogans and signs everywhere, which were quite funny to look at. Lots of old cars and trucks. You felt like you're going back into the 1960s or 50s or something. Not that I'm from the 1950s or 60s, but you felt that way. It was like something from a movie set.
I like how the flag is on everything, isn't it? Everything you see has got the Ukrainian flag on it.
Yes, I love it.
It just doesn't want to go down this pal.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, there's someone turning. Oh, you may make it.
Yeah, you can make that, yeah.
I'm making it.
So is your foot to the floor then?
Yes.
Wow.
Right, we've got round 1. That's helpful.
50%.
One to go. We can take this one.
No, I'm just going to wait.
When you get in the east, or toward the east, all of the road signs are covered.
Yeah,
they didn't want them to know, like, you know, where they were. But you can see, I mean, they clearly have it set up for if needed.
Yeah.
I know when they took the road signs down, they replaced them with offensive words towards Russians, didn't they?
Oh, that's funny.
That's what they put, yeah.
That's funny.
So every time they're coming in, they're saying offensive words to Russians.
I have seen that on buses that, like, when they were coming out of Ukraine, there were most of them that had. He sent me a request document of things they've requested. Medical dressers, you have that. Seam materials, adhesive plasters.
That's fake, that is. So they need a medical dress, are they?
Chemical hemostatic element. Oh, to stop blood, like that stuff. Clotting stuff.
Quick clot.
Have they put anything on there about foot powder?
Well, they have.
They will want it.
They have medical consumables, but I don't know that they're actually consuming gloves and syringes and medical instruments. Good heavens. Just pure medical stuff.
Okay.
Oh, waterproof marker, blue or black, for application of information.
Yeah, but the markers, well, I forgot about that actually, because they've got some permanent markers. Because even if they've had morphine, they can write that down, time it,
Right.
done.
That's a good idea.
If they've got a tourniquet on, and the person's passed out unconscious, they can write down the time when the tourniquet was applied, so they can release it every 50 minutes.
That makes
Something
sense.
like that. Things like that as well.
I was going to say, I've also seen that if they're, like, if they have to amputate a limb or something, they'll mark the one so that they don't amputate the wrong one, which is horrific, but I guess that happens.
Oh, yeah.
So it looks like these are packages that they're making. So it has a list of meds.
Yeah.
And then it has a list of, like, sterile dressing bags with elastic first aid. The clotting powder.
Yeah.
Do you like that they have to do this with clotting powder? Medical triangular bandage. And then it goes into anti-burn.
The problem is that lots of people don't understand or have not experienced that this is an active war zone. And there's been a massive influx of first aid kits sent over that have been purchased from local shops, Boots or Halfords. These first aid kits are only to treat minor injuries like cuts and abrasions. And due to the intense number of casualties they are dealing with each day, these basic first aid kits are ineffective. They don't come with the items to stop mass bleeding, heavy burns, chest seals for sucking chest wounds, and of course, one item that is greatly essential over there is the CAP tourniquet, Combat Application Tourniquet.
Stop bleeding tourniquet, rigid neck collar with adjustable size, scissors for cutting clothes and shoes, immobilization, flexible splint to immobilize rings, I guess, manual suction pump.
I've heard for that a lot. That's something, the suction pumps, well, like dentists using your mouth.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've heard, no, I don't think that anyone's brought that, but I've seen them. Some of those machines are expensive,
Oh, yeah.
aren't, but you can make them. You can make them with a compressor, and if you use it in a sterile environment, sort of thing, you can use from a car, a brake bleeding kit.
Oh,
you can do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could make that.
12 kilometers will merge to E40. Lori's backing out.
I don't know if backing out or backing in.
Or backing in.
Backing up, back it in.
Let me begin. I'm here to win. Battle me, that's us.
That's it, yeah, you got it in one.
And then there's a card.
Boy, that reminds me of high school.
Наш. Да. Наши беттеры, пацаны! О, с флагами! Ребята идут на штурм Бэхи! Пришли пацанчики наши на подмогу! Будем живы!
10-й бастион. На связи. 10-й на связи.
Just some random medical stuff that would like to drop off, and then you guys can decide where it goes and who needs it. And the back's empty. It's like a refrigerated van.
Она сказала, что не может выбирать. Куда? Куда она планирует дальше от нас двигаться. Where do you want to go after you drop the stuff off here?
I wanted to bring it to you guys because I know Rob very well, and I know it will get to the best places.
Она сказала, что она знает Роба. Очень хорошо сказала, поэтому она думает, что он самый хороший здесь. Скажи, что мы очень рады ее встретить здесь.
human after all. I'm only human after all. I'm ready to answer for what I've done wrong in my life. It's nothing, I promise. It's not enough to make you cry. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. We're only human. We're only human. We're only human after all. We're only human. We're only human. We're only human after all. Hear me when I say I'm ready to answer for what I've done wrong in my life. It's nothing, I promise. It's not enough to make you cry. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. We're only human. We're only human after all. At the end of the day, we're only human. We're only human after all.
So we're just unloading all our boxes now. The 7-day rations, the medical gear. These are getting loaded onto a pallet, and these are going to be transported immediately to the soldiers. That's some soldiers here. So I'm just going to show you all our things on the pallet.
It is, yeah. So she just went the hour.
These are all the large rations, the 7-day rations. These are the boxes from all your donations that we've got. Okay, so we've unloaded the van, all the supplies are off, so we're just going to try some food they brought for us here. I don't know what it is, but we're going to try it. Let's have a look.
Paul's going to try it.
Drink as well.
This guy that's helping us is the one that was backpacking.
What was that recorded?
Kramatorsk?
So basically, do you guys want to take stuff to Odessa?
Honestly, when we heard them say they want to deliver things to Odessa, I almost split a log. We were thinking, no, we're off, we're going home. Only kidding. If we would have had another week in Ukraine, or if we would have arrived there by the weekend, I may have considered it, but it was a lot of travelling. We did not have the fuel to cover that. And these guys, when they heard where we came from, they knew where we come from, they practically wanted to offer us a job to deliver aid for them. Because that's one thing these Ukrainians are short of, is drivers. They've had, all of them have had drivers imprisoned on the Russian side. All of our drivers were shot. So it is a pretty gruesome job, pretty dangerous job. Probably would be one of the most dangerous jobs in the world at the moment. But nevertheless, we pulled up our van, and they stripped that van in minutes. When they saw what we got on there, they were quite impressed, which was a good thing for us. We arrived and saw their whole setup in that warehouse. I mean, there was lots of pallets full of supplies and things in the warehouse, but it wasn't all theirs. They were using that warehouse, so whatever that warehouse was used for, it had products in there anyway. But these guys were very well organised indeed. Made us look small time. They were funded, or should I say supported, by Type of Wood charities in the USA. They've been supporting them for quite a long time, and they've done some pretty good stuff. Jeanette has done some work for Type of Wood charities before, I believe. They looked at our supplies, and our van looked minimal compared to what they're used to dealing with. When we showed them what we've got in our van, I was quite nervous at this point, thinking, is this really worth it? Are they going to be impressed with what we brought out here? To which they were. When they saw we wrote on the boxes 7-day rations, they did not have to organise anything. They could literally offload all those boxes we brought, get it onto a pallet and take it straight to their buddies on the front line. There was a guy beside me called Ivan, I believe his name was. He couldn't speak English. He couldn't. I think he was the organizer for the whole setup there. He couldn't speak English. Could speak very little words. He asked us where we're going next, what's our plans next, and we told them that we are going home. So they all couldn't believe that we were actually just dropping our supplies off, jumping back in the van, waving goodbye, shaking hands and heading home. And that's what we had to do. Time was important. They couldn't accept that, so they said to us, you need to eat first before you go anywhere. The ladies quickly scarpered. They got a table cleared. They put blankets down for seats around it so we could sit on nice comfy blankets. They got the kettle out. They got herbal teas, different fruit teas out, started chopping vegetables. They got some buns out, some pain au chocolat buns. They got pickles, tomatoes, anything they had in there, in that warehouse. They got out and made a complete buffet on the table for us, and they wanted to feed us at least before we went home. So we sat down, had some tea with them, and we sampled some of the food. Everything was okay, just fresh food to me, but one particular item, this stuff was basically compressed bacon fat, and it literally just looked like a block of lard with a crust on it. I don't know what the benefit of that was, but looking at their diet, Ukrainians' diet, it's almost fat-free. It's quite, everything's natural and homegrown, so they don't have many processed foods out there whatsoever. But this is probably where they get the fat content from. And they chopped up this block, I'd say, of lard. They chopped it up into tiny little squares and left it on a plate. And everyone was looking at me to try it. They were saying it's good, try it, this is the best stuff. So I picked up a piece of that and I just pretended, I thought I'm not going to like this because I don't like fat at all on meat or anything. If I'm cooking bacon or steaks, I'll chop that fat right off. I don't like any of it. I just thought to myself, get it down, you chew it, get some tea to wash it down and put your thumbs up and say it's nice, but I didn't want to offend them, you see. I don't think they would have been offended. So I picked up a piece of it, I started chewing on this, and instantly, the moment I put that in my mouth, I knew this was going to be very difficult to swallow. And I looked at Becky, and Becky looked at me because it was her turn to try some. And I shook my head at her. I said, don't try it. Well, I didn't say it, but I indicated to her that she should not try this because I know that Becky would not be able to hold back. She would have barfed all over that table. So anyway, I washed it down and I quickly threw pickles and tomatoes and bread in my mouth, and we drank the tea. These guys asked us where you're from, where have you come from, because some of them didn't understand England. They didn't know where England was, but they knew who Boris Johnson was. And the interpreter told them Yorkshire, England. I told him we're from Yorkshire, Northern England. They didn't know. So the interpreter then said Boris Johnson, and all these Ukrainians around us then just lit up, clapping with their thumbs raised. And then they knew where England was. They said British, so they knew what Britain were. They said British the best, Boris the best. Britain and Boris and the USA have done so well. They have helped their country so well, and they are very grateful for it. They love Brits over there. So they couldn't believe it. I showed them on Google Maps, scrolled right through Europe to our home and showed them our house, where we come from, and showed them the people, scrolled down the list on my fundraiser that I had. I showed them all the people who have donated, and it was the only thing at that point was it's a shame that obviously I couldn't get them to speak to the people who donated, because I feel when I'm going out there that I am just a driver. I'm not just being modest. It really does break my heart that I can't bring much of the experience home, so I try to bring more of the experience as I can back to the viewers. Everybody who's donated made this trip possible, and everyone who supported us, so we were delivering their donations, their supplies for them, and unfortunately I wasn't able to record much whilst we were with those Ukrainians, because one is I don't like recording, using them as zoo animals to get selfies with. And the other thing is that these people have families who are still living in the Russian occupied areas, so they did not want their faces to be shown just in case this would have an impact on their families, because there's no doubt that Russian authorities, they would like to keep a track on aid workers or what's doing what, so they could use blackmail tactics, stuff like that. But we showed them all the people who have donated, and I told him that I'm just a driver. We are drivers. We are not. We have not purchased all this ourselves. Yes, we have put our own money into this, a lot of our own money into this, but this is about everybody else. Because we told them that we are just drivers, we are just delivering this aid out here, they must have thought that was our job, our profession. And Ivan quickly said, do you want a job? Do you people want a job to come driving for me? And we said, no, we can't, we need to get home. He said, that's when he said, would you guys want to deliver to Odessa? And we tried to, then that way we explained to them we are not delivery drivers, but what we meant was we are delivering people's aid only. We couldn't do any more. It was time for us to go. So we quickly drank our tea, shook hands with everybody, gave some hugs. They wanted to keep in touch and try and exchange numbers, and they told us to come back. We're all welcome there anytime. We're welcome in Ukraine anytime. It brought tears to my eyes, and I had to leave that warehouse at that time and get into the van because I was kind of filling up at the moment. So after that, we jumped in the van, waved goodbyes, and they all stood there, waved us away. We took a photograph of the whole group, and we got underway and back on the road.
Right, okay, we've made our drop. All the supplies are gone out the back now. We didn't want to do too much filming because some people don't want the faces on the camera, stuff like that. So we've had something to eat. They provided us with some food, and the bread thing was, what was that bread thing? It was really nice.
Bread.
Oh, bread with some sort of filling with sugar and sweets.
It was chocolate. Oh, chocolate. They were like a.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they call them in Russian. Yeah. They're almost like a pain au chocolat, but in a roll.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it was really nice, actually surprising. I thought it was dry at the beginning, but no. So yeah, we're heading home now. It's been quite a quick visit, and they wish we could stay with them. All those supplies now are immediately being loaded onto a pallet, and they'll be going out to the army, the soldier rations. So
and to military hospitals.
Military hospitals, yeah. So all those aprons, surgical aprons, stuff like that, they will be going to the military hospitals. That's where they're needed. So we're a long drive back now, and we'll speak to you in a bit.
We were 4 hours, now we're at 3. Like.
All of the things that I wish I could tell you every time when you're passing me by.
And I see a mobilization on this horizontal level, Ukrainians helping each other. This is invincible.
Everyone is so bonded with Ukraine, and everyone wants this to work out for them to have a country to which to return, and hope that their resilience and their spirit will not die.
Are you willing to give up any part of Ukraine for peace? Overall, we're not ready to give away our country. I think we've already given up a lot of lives. So we need to stand firm for as long as we can. But this is life. Different things happen.